First contact gone wrong. The research vessel Stellar Horizon drifted silently through the debris field of what had once been the Epsilon Eridani system's outer asteroid belt. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the strange object that had brought them to this remote corner of space. The artifact hung against the backdrop of stars, its crystalline surface refracting light in impossible patterns. "Analysis complete, Doctor," announced Dr. Marcus Rodriguez from his station. "Whatever this thing is, it's definitely not natural. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our database." Sarah nodded, trying to contain her excitement. After 15 years of searching for proof of advanced alien civilizations, they'd finally found something concrete. The artifact was roughly cylindrical, about the size of a small shuttle, with geometric patterns etched into its surface that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. "What's the composition?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the object. "That's the weird part," Marcus replied, frowning at his displays. "The outer layer appears to be some kind of crystalline matrix, but it's perfectly formed, no imperfections, not even at the molecular level. And the internal structure," he shook his head. "The scans can't make sense of it. It's like the space inside doesn't follow normal physics." Captain Laura Hayes's voice came over the intercom, interrupting their discussion. "Dr. Chen, we're picking up multiple ships entering the system. Big ones." Sarah felt her heart skip a beat. In the 3 years since humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel, they'd never encountered another spacefaring species. "How many?" "7 vessels, all larger than anything Earth has built. They're running hot, weapons armed, and shields up." Before Sarah could respond, a new voice filled the ship's communication system. The universal translator took a moment to process before converting the alien language to English. "Attention, human vessel. This is Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Xeraxian Empire. You have discovered an artifact belonging to our sovereignty. Power down your systems and prepare to surrender it immediately." Captain Hayes switched to a private channel. "Dr. Chen, options." Sarah's mind raced. The artifact was clearly of immense technological significance, possibly even world-changing. "This doesn't make sense," she said. "If it belonged to them, why was it abandoned here? And why are they arriving just now when we found it?" "Doctor, they're charging weapons," the tactical officer reported. Sarah made her decision. "Captain, we can't let them have it. The energy readings suggest this artifact is far more advanced than even their ships. If it belongs to anyone, it's not them." "Agreed," Hayes replied. "But we're a research vessel. We can't fight 7 warships." A slight smile crossed Sarah's face. "No, but we have something they don't know about." She turned to Marcus. "Boot up the Quantum Entanglement Communicator. Contact Earth Command." The Stellar Horizons experimental QEC system was humanity's most closely guarded secret, instant communication across any distance, achieved through quantum entanglement. Within seconds, they were connected to Earth Command. "This is Admiral Chen. Go ahead, Stellar Horizon." Sarah's mother's voice was steady and professional, despite the hour on Earth. "Admiral, we found something. Something big. But we've got company, 7 warships from something called the Xeraxian Empire. They're demanding we surrender the artifact." There was a brief pause. "Understood. Stellar Horizon, you are authorized to activate Protocol Prometheus. Help is already on the way." Sarah's eyes widened. Protocol Prometheus was classified beyond her clearance level, but she'd heard rumors. Earth had been preparing for this moment. First contact, for decades. The alien commander's voice returned, more forceful this time. "Your silence is taken as refusal. You have 30 seconds to comply before we open fire." Captain Hayes's voice was remarkably calm as she responded to the aliens. "This is Captain Laura Hayes of the Earth vessel Stellar Horizon. We are a peaceful research vessel, but we do not recognize your authority over this artifact. Any aggressive action will be met with appropriate force." Laughter echoed through the communication channel. You are brave, humans, but foolish. Your vessel is unarmed, your technology primitive. What force could you possibly? The tactical officer's voice cut through the alien speech. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Captain, something big just appeared between us and the Zeraxian fleet. Sarah rushed to the window just in time to see space itself tear open. Through the rift emerged a ship that made her gasp. It was beautiful and terrible. A sleek predator of black metal and pulsing energy fields, nearly twice the size of the largest Zeraxian vessel. Along its hull, strange symbols glowed with an inner light, and where weapons should be, there were only smooth surfaces that seemed to drink in the starlight. A new voice joined the communication channel, deep and confident. This is Captain James Harper of the HMS Prometheus. Stellar Horizon, you are under our protection. Zeraxian vessels, you have entered restricted space without authorization. You will power down your weapons and withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to demonstrate exactly how primitive human technology isn't. The silence that followed was deafening. Sarah Chen smiled, realizing that humanity's first real step into the galactic community was going to be far more interesting than anyone had imagined. The weight of legacy. Supreme Commander Vexthor stared at the tactical display, his scaled fingers drumming against the command chair's armrest. The human warship defied every scan his crew attempted, its hull seeming to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Even its size appeared to fluctuate depending on which sensor array was reading it. Impossible, he muttered, watching the energy readings from the vessel. They're barely out of their solar system. They shouldn't have this technology. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Krell, approached with a data tablet. Sir, we've completed analysis of their communication patterns. The research vessel contacted their command structure instantly. No delay, despite being 30 light-years from their homeworld. Vexthor's inner eyelids flickered in surprise. Quantum entanglement communication. Are you certain? Yes, sir. And there's more. Krell's voice dropped lower. The warship, the Prometheus, it didn't use conventional FTL to arrive. The spatial distortion patterns matched theoretical models for quantum tunneling. Aboard the HMS Prometheus, Captain Harper watched the Zeraxian fleet with practiced calm. His ship's quantum core hummed beneath his feet, a sound that always reminded him of a cat's purr. The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, monitoring the complex systems that made their vessel the most advanced warship humanity had ever built. Captain, his science officer, Dr. Emily Nash, called out, I've completed initial analysis of the artifact. You're going to want to see this. Harper moved to her station, examining the holographic display. The artifact's internal structure was a maze of impossible geometries, spaces that folded in on themselves in ways that shouldn't exist in three-dimensional space. It's a key, Emily said, her eyes bright with excitement. Or maybe a map. The patterns match fragments we found in other systems, the ones we thought were natural formations. They're all connected. Connected to what? Harper asked. We're not sure, but... She was cut off by the tactical officer's urgent voice. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Sir, the Zeraxians are receiving reinforcements. Space rippled as 15 more Zeraxian warships emerged from FTL, their weapons already charging. Supreme Commander Vexthor's voice echoed through the communication channels once more. Captain Harper, your vessel is impressive, but you are now outnumbered. The artifact belongs to the Zeraxian Empire by right of legacy. We know of its creators, the precursors, and their connection to our species. Harper shared a quick look with Emily, who was rapidly analyzing new data. She nodded slightly. There was more to this situation than the Zeraxians were revealing. Supreme Commander, Harper replied, we've been studying precursor sites for years. If you know of their legacy, you must also know they vanished for a reason. That artifact isn't just a piece of advanced technology, is it? A pause. When Vexthor spoke again, his tone had changed. You are more informed than we expected, human. Yes, The artifact is more than it appears. It is one of 7 keys left behind by the precursors. Keys to weapons of unimaginable power, weapons they used to fight something even they feared. Aboard the Stellar Horizon, Dr. Sarah Chen's hands flew over her console as she correlated the new information with their findings. Captain Hayes, I'm detecting a quantum resonance between the artifact and the Prometheus. It's recognizing our technology. Hayes frowned. How is that possible? We reversed engineered our quantum tech from ruins found on Mars. Exactly, Sarah whispered, the pieces falling into place. Mars, a dead world. Like so many others we found. What if the precursors didn't just vanish? What if they scattered their legacy across the galaxy, waiting for species advanced enough to find it, to use it? The artifact pulsed with new light, its geometric patterns shifting faster. Energy readings spiked across all sensors, and for a moment every quantum-capable device in the system synchronized to its frequency. Captain Harper's voice was grim as he addressed the Ziraxian commander. Your reinforcements change. Nothing, Supreme Commander. That artifact has just confirmed what we suspected. Humanity's development of quantum technology wasn't an accident. We are heirs to the precursors, just as you claim to be. The only question is, will you risk a war to steal what might be freely shared? Vexthor's response was cut off by a new alarm. More quantum signatures were appearing. But these weren't Ziraxian. Ships of different designs were emerging throughout the system, drawn by the artifact's pulse of energy. The game board had just become much larger, and the stakes much higher. Dr. Chen stared at the artifact, its light reflecting in her eyes. We didn't find it, she realized. It found us. And now everyone knows we're here. The Prometheus's quantum core surged, preparing for what might come next. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community had become a sprint, and the finish line was nowhere in sight. Breaking point. The void of space erupted with light as the first Ziraxian blast lanced toward the Prometheus. Supreme Commander Vexthor had finally lost patience, ordering his fleet to attack rather than risk losing the artifact to the newly arrived alien factions. The energy beam, powerful enough to crack a small moon, struck the human warship's quantum field and simply ceased to exist. Captain Harper stood calmly on his bridge, watching the tactical display as more shots followed the first. Each disappeared into the Prometheus's defensive field, the energy dispersed across countless quantum states simultaneously. Status of the research vessel? He asked. Stellar Horizon is secure behind us, sir, his tactical officer reported. Our quantum field extends to their position. They're continuing their analysis of the artifact. The ship's AI, Diana, manifested her holographic form beside Harper. Captain, I've completed my analysis of the Ziraxian attack pattern. They're attempting to overwhelm our quantum field by forcing it to process too many energy dispersals at once. Creative, but ultimately futile. Harper nodded. The Ziraxians didn't understand that the more energy they poured into the quantum field, the stronger it became. Each attack was simply adding to their defensive capabilities. Aboard the Stellar Horizon, Dr. Sarah Chen had made a breakthrough. This can't be coincidence, she muttered, reviewing the data. Captain Hayes, the artifact's quantum signature. It's an exact match for the crystalline structures we found in the Mars ruins. Hayes moved to look over her shoulder. The same ruins that led to our quantum technology. Are you saying the precursors left this here knowing we'd find it? Not just knowing, counting on it. Sarah's fingers flew over her console. The artifact isn't just recognizing our quantum tech, it's responding to it. Every time the Prometheus's quantum field absorbs an attack, the artifact's internal structure shifts slightly. It's testing us. The tactical display lit up with new contacts as the other alien factions began to position themselves around the system. The Athrani, silicon-based beings in ships that resembled abstract art more than vessels of war. The Collective, a hive mind of synthetic intelligences whose ships moved with perfect coordination. The nomad fleet of the Vorkath, eternal wanderers who had seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. Diana's hologram flickered as she processed new information. Captain, the alien vessels are transmitting vast amounts of data between themselves. They're discussing the artifact, and us. The Athrani are particularly interested in our quantum technology. The collective appears to be running probability simulations of possible outcomes. The Vorkath. She paused. The Vorkath are afraid. Afraid. Harper raised an eyebrow. Of us? No. Of what the artifact represents. They're sharing historical records, fragments of ancient data about the Precursors' final war, the enemy they fought, the reason they scattered their legacy across the galaxy. Diana's expression became troubled. Captain, according to the Vorkath, the Precursors didn't just disappear. They sacrificed themselves to seal away something they called the void between thoughts. On the Ziraxian flagship, Vexthor received the same historical data from the Vorkath. His scaled skin paled as he read. "Stop the attack," he ordered. "All ships, cease fire immediately." But it was too late. The combined energy of the Ziraxian assault had pushed the artifact past some critical threshold. Its crystalline surface began to pulse with blinding light, geometric patterns spinning and shifting faster than the eye could follow. "Energy spike," Dr. Chen shouted. "The artifact. It's creating some kind of quantum resonance cascade." The Prometheus's quantum core responded automatically, synchronizing with the artifact's frequency. Information flooded through the connection, not just data, but memories. The final memories of the Precursors. Precursors, preserved in quantum states for eons, waiting for inheritors worthy of their legacy. Harper saw it all through the ship's systems. The ancient enemy that had threatened to consume all consciousness in the galaxy. The desperate plan to seal it away. The Precursors' decision to scatter their knowledge and technology, ensuring that only species capable of rediscovering quantum physics could find it. Species that might be strong enough to maintain the seals when the enemy inevitably returned. The artifact isn't a weapon, he realized. It's a warning. And a test. Dr. Chen's voice came through the comm, tight with urgency. "Captain, the artifact's quantum signature is reaching critical levels. Whatever it's going to do, it's happening now." The artifact's light reached impossible brightness, and for a moment, every quantum-capable system in the system synchronized. In that instant of perfect harmony, a message reached out to touch every mind, organic and synthetic alike. The seals are failing. The void stirs. The inheritors must unite, or all will be consumed. As the light faded, the tactical situation had changed entirely. The artifact's message had made one thing clear. The gathered species faced a choice between unity or extinction. And humanity, with its mysterious mastery of quantum technology, suddenly found itself at the center of everything. The alliance forms. In the aftermath of the artifact's message, silence gripped the assembled fleet. The quantum resonance had left every ship's sensors temporarily overwhelmed, their crews struggling to process both the technical data and the philosophical implications of what they'd witnessed. Captain Harper broke the silence first. "Diana, full analysis of the quantum data we received." The AI's hologram appeared, her expression unusually solemn. "The information is vast, Captain." The Precursors encoded their entire understanding of quantum mechanics into that transmission. But more importantly, they included tactical data about our enemy. The tactical display updated, showing a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Hundreds of points lit up in red, marking the locations of other artifacts. Other seals holding back the void between thoughts. "The seals are failing in sequence," Diana continued. "Based on the degradation pattern, we have approximately 3 standard months before the first seal breaks completely. Once that happens, the others will follow rapidly." On the Ziraxian flagship, Supreme Commander Vexthor had reached a similar conclusion. His pride warred briefly with necessity before he opened a channel to the Prometheus. "Captain Harper, it seems we began our interaction poorly. Perhaps we should discuss terms of cooperation." "A wise decision," Harper replied, though his tone remained cautious. I suggest we convene a council. All species present should be represented. The Athrani ships moved first, their crystalline vessels realigning into a circular formation. A transmission followed, their silicon-based consciousness translating thoughts into words. We concur. The void between thoughts cannot be allowed to enter this reality. Our simulations suggest a 99.97% probability of total galactic extinction if it does. The collective's response came as a unified burst of data. Our processing cores have analyzed the precursor data. Humanity's quantum technology is most advanced among present species. Logic dictates they should lead the defensive effort. Dr. Chen's voice cut through the channel from the stellar horizon. Captain, I've finished analyzing the artifact's internal structure. It's not just a seal. It's a blueprint. The precursors left us instructions for building something. Something big. Harper smiled slightly. Let me guess, a quantum shield array large enough to cover an entire star system. Better, Sarah replied, excitement clear in her voice. It's a design for a quantum network linking multiple star systems. If we can build it in time, we might be able to reinforce all the seals simultaneously. The Vorkath Elder vessel moved closer, its ancient hull bearing the scars of countless conflicts. Their transmission carried the weight of millennia. We remember the last war. We were young then, barely achieving spaceflight. We watched the precursors sacrifice themselves to save all life in the galaxy. We will not let their sacrifice be in vain. Over the next hours, representatives from each species transferred to the Prometheus via quantum teleportation, a technology that impressed even the Athrani. They gathered in the ship's conference room, a diverse collection of beings united by necessity and the shadow of extinction. Harper stood at the head of the table, his uniform pristine, his posture steady. The precursors chose their inheritors carefully, he began. Each of our species brings something unique to this fight. Humanity's quantum technology, Xeraxian industrial capacity, Athrani computational abilities, the collective's perfect coordination, Vorkath experience, and historical knowledge. He gestured to the holographic display showing the galaxy map. We have 3 months to build a quantum network spanning thousands of light years. We'll need to cooperate in ways no species ever has before. We'll need to share technology, resources, and trust. Commodities that were in short supply just hours ago. Supreme Commander Vexthor, now seated rather than standing in challenge, nodded slowly. The Xeraxian Empire has extensive shipyards. With the quantum technology you possess, we could adapt them to produce the network components. The Athrani representative's crystalline form sparkled as it processed possibilities. Our quantum computers could handle the calculations necessary for synchronizing the network across such vast distances. The collective can coordinate the construction efforts. Their synthetic voice added, our linked consciousness can manage thousands of construction sites simultaneously. The Vorkath Elder raised a gnarled appendage. We know the locations of many precursor sites. Some may contain additional resources we can use. Dr. Chen, attending via hologram from the stellar horizon, brought up a detailed schematic. The network design is elegant in its simplicity. Each node acts as both a power source and a transmitter. Once activated, it should create a quantum field similar to the Prometheus's defenses, but on a galactic scale. Harper looked around the table, meeting the eyes, optical sensors, and sensory crystals of each representative. Then we're agreed. As of this moment, we're all allies. He paused, allowing the weight of the moment to settle. Let's get to work. We have a galaxy to save. The meeting concluded with the signing of the Emergency Galactic Accord, the first true alliance between spacefaring species in known history. As the representatives returned to their ships to begin preparations, Harper stood at the Prometheus's observation window, watching the assembled fleet. Diana appeared beside him. The void between thoughts is stirring, Captain. The seals weaken with each passing moment. Harper nodded. Then we'll just have to work faster than it does. He turned to his bridge crew. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them we're going to need every quantum-capable ship we can build, and let's hope 3 months is enough time to save the galaxy." The final stand. 89 days after the emergency Galactic Accord was signed, Captain James Harper stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching the largest fleet ever assembled in known space. 10,000 ships from 5 different species moved in perfect coordination, taking their positions around the quantum network nodes. The construction had been completed with barely hours to spare. "Status report," Harper commanded, his voice steady despite the tension. Diana's hologram flickered to life, displaying real-time data from across the galaxy. The quantum network is at 98% synchronization. All nodes are responding. The Athrani quantum computers are handling the calculations perfectly. She paused, her expression grave. "But the first seal is critical. We're detecting quantum fluctuations that match the precursor records. The void is about to break through." Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through from the stellar horizon, which had spent the past 3 months studying the original artifact. "The good news is that our modifications to the precursor design should work. The bad news is that we'll only get one chance. If the network fails to contain the breach, there won't be time for a second attempt." The tactical display lit up with new warnings. In the Proxima Centauri system, where the weakest seal was located, space itself began to tear. The void that opened wasn't black. It was the absence of existence itself, a rip in the fabric of reality that defied description. Supreme Commander Vex Thor's voice echoed across the command channel. "By the ancient gods, it's exactly as the histories described." The void between thoughts began to pour through the breach. It didn't move so much as consume, erasing matter, energy, and even space-time itself from existence. The quantum sensors on nearby ships registered something else, a hunger, a consciousness that devoured thought itself. "All ships, battle positions," Harper ordered. "Begin quantum network activation sequence." 10,000 ships activated their quantum cores simultaneously, channeling energy into the network nodes. The Athrani computers processed the calculations needed to synchronize their output, while the collective's hive mind coordinated the fleet's movements with microscopic precision. The Vorkath elders monitored the energy patterns, comparing them to their ancient records to ensure they matched the precursor specifications. The void expanded rapidly, consuming 2 Xeraxian ships before they could retreat. Their crew's final screams across the command channel weren't of pain, but of absolute emptiness, the sound of consciousness being erased from existence. "Network at full power," Diana reported. "Initiating containment field in 3, 2, 1. Energy coursed through the quantum network, creating a cascading web of interconnected fields. The void's expansion slammed into the quantum barrier, its nothingness meeting the infinite possibilities of quantum superposition. "The field is holding," Sarah reported, her voice tight with concentration. "But the power requirements are astronomical. We're burning through our energy reserves faster than calculated." The void pushed against the quantum field, seeking weaknesses. Where it touched the barrier, reality itself seemed to shudder. Ship sensors registered impossible readings as 2 fundamentally opposed states of existence battled for supremacy. "We need more power," Harper realized. "Diana, what happens if we inject the Prometheus's entire quantum core output directly into the network?" The AI's eyes widened. "Captain, that would destroy the ship," the feedback alone mulled. "Would it work?" A pause. "Yes. The additional power would stabilize the field permanently. But, sir, the crew." Harper opened the fleet-wide channel. "All ships, fall back to minimum safe distance. Prometheus will handle this." Supreme Commander Vex Thor's voice cut through the channel. "No, the Xeraxian Empire does not let allies sacrifice alone. Our remaining ships will match your power output." The Athrani joined next. "We will contribute our vessel's power as well." One by one, each species volunteered ships for what would likely be a suicide mission. In the end, 50 vessels, 10 from each species, moved into position around the breach. "On my mark," Harper commanded, his hand hovering over the quantum core controls. "Diana, it's been an honor. Begin power transfer in 3, 2, 1. 50 quantum cores went into deliberate overload simultaneously. Their combined outputs surged through the network, creating a quantum field so powerful it could be seen by the naked eye. A web of pure possibility pushing back against the void of impossibility. The void between thoughts fought back, its hunger infinite, its power unimaginable. For one terrible moment, it seemed even this sacrifice wouldn't be enough. Then Dr. Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "The artifact. Captain, the original artifact. It's responding to the quantum surge. All 7 artifacts are responding." The ancient precursor devices activated simultaneously, adding their power to the network. The quantum field flared blindingly bright, and the void retreated. Reality rushed in to fill the space it had occupied, the breach sealing itself under the combined power of modern quantum technology and ancient precursor engineering. When the light faded, 50 ships were gone, their sacrifice written into the very fabric of space-time. But the void was sealed away, more securely than ever before. In the aftermath, as the fleet regrouped and rescue operations began, a final transmission was received. A quantum echo from the Prometheus's AI core, Diana's last message. Analysis complete. The void between thoughts is contained. The quantum network is self-sustaining, powered by the same quantum fluctuations it was designed to control. The seals will hold not for mere millennia this time, but until the end of the universe itself. Captain Harper's final orders. Remember this day not as a victory of any one species, but as proof that together we can overcome even the impossible. The message spread across the galaxy, reaching every world of every species. Humanity had proven itself not just to be technologically advanced, but capable of uniting ancient enemies against a common threat. The age of isolation was over. The future would belong to all of them, together. On the stellar horizon, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the quantum network shimmer across her sensors, a permanent reminder of what they had achieved. "Mom," she whispered, knowing the quantum entanglement communicator would carry her words to Admiral Chen on Earth. "We did it. We really did it." The network pulsed once, as if in agreement, its light promising a future brighter than any single species could have achieved alone.